So you speak about pies. Apple pie, pear pie, pineapple pie.
Yes. So PIES is an acronym from my mentor of many years ago. No, I made the acronym. He talked a lot about survival mechanisms, relational survival mechanisms. Richard Erskine. So I'll ask you to do the writing. And if you start down here backwards with, I'll do the S, I'll do the PIES, and then I'll ask you, because this is a funny angle for me. With a different colour, will you put self-regulating?
Self-regulating.
Yes. And the psychological term is introjection. I'll spell it I-N-T-R-O. Introjection. J-E-C-T-I-O. And why I still like this map that I created. Introjection is the original term that Eric Berne used for the parent ego state. It's when we're copying our environment, the significant others in the environment, and intro, turning it inward and becoming like them. Because it's a survival mechanism. So all this is the swamp. This is carrying on from our discussion the other day. And if I copy you, then the hope is I will be like you and you'll be happy.
To not cause any kind of conflict or disturbance or unpredictability.
It doesn't usually work. The people aren't happy when we copy them. But this is Eric Berne's original term for parent ego state. Not original, but psychological term. The other thing for here is his original term, which makes it so much clearer. Exterior psyche. Because it's the psyche outside us that we thought if we copied, the world will be okay, or they'll be happy with us.
So what I'm getting is that the parent ego state is when I'm looking outside and copying the behaviors, the way the other do, because I believe if I'm like them, they will be okay. And
They'll
I'm
be
okay.
happy with you.
They will be happy with me and I'm okay.
Yeah.
And how this is connected with the rules we were speaking about, or this, because when I think about parent ego state in me, and when I'm navigating a process, there is things that I notice, and I don't know if it happens for everyone, but it's stiffness, it's contract, it is rules, and it is like pragmatic in a way of it's like that, or should be like that.
Exactly. This is the way it is.
This is how it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is the parent ego state. The rules, the shoulds, the values of other people. What was I going to say about that? So linking to our other video, when you can identify when you're in your parent ego state, because you're in one of those 5 driver behaviors of Clinton's number 13 of creating ordinary relationship from Tabby Kyler. So be strong, hurry up, please others, try hard, and be perfect. And all those come with rules. Some of them more implicit than explicit. And it's why I'm starting backwards. This stands for explicit conclusions. Yeah, conclusions. So these are the decisions we know about. And are you okay? I referred to our session this morning.
Yes.
So the explicit conclusion I heard this morning: to be free, I have to be away from you. I have to get rid of you to be okay. You knew about that.
Yes.
From your intellectual body. So these are the decisions we know about, and intellectual body could tell you that these are the conclusions I made. There's something wrong with me. That's another of these explicit. What you and I worked with this morning was these implicit. Experiential, Yeah. X-E-I-E-N-T-I-A-L. Conclusions. Now these are the ones that today, these were the conclusions you made based on experience. So I don't think you'd have been able to tell me before we explored your dream and all the treasures in it, what you discovered with your hands.
So would you, I would just want to describe that to make sense in the video. So we had a session today in the morning where I was doing that movement with my hand, with my physical body. And then Janet came and put her body to push against, and it was this experience that I had of wanting to get away and push away my mother. This is what you were speaking about.
Yes. And the experience of, when I said to you, neglect is one thing, it's what was missing. And what is the word you used when there was too much of something, too much of her energy in your space? And you said suffocation, you couldn't breathe. There's one other, invasion. Yeah. So what I did, once you couldn't breathe, you had your hand on your sternum, and I invited you to push a little more so you could feel what we're going to come to, the physiological survival reaction. Physiological survival reaction. So by exploring your dream, you found the implicit experiential conclusion, and once, because your hand was talking quite a bit before I said, are you willing to go the next layer? And I gave you something to push against so you could feel what your hand was doing. And you said you couldn't push your mum away because she said it was rude. So you knew that. It's rude to push her away. And yet the suffocation.
What's happening?
Yeah. So often a kid believes, they internalize, I am bad, as an internalization conclusion based on the experience of actually this feels bad, the environment. Same with this, for me, the shame-based decision. There's something wrong with me. It's a way of keeping it all on the inside. When actually, when people are ready to externalize, actually there was something wrong with my environment. Key needs weren't met in my environment so I could thrive. So these ones are, for me, it's really important that the person totally have your experience before you even talk about it. What's happening for you as we're talking about this?
That my experience in the process, it was that by not speaking about, I was really diving deeper of the physical sensation and the energetic signature of how was it that, and how normal it was, or how normal it seems to be, that invasion or that suffocation. And I got a new experience also of space holding, when there is this implicit experience of giving more space. So sometimes when I'm holding space, I don't have so much the pace when it's a time for me to intervene, to make a question or to repeat back, and when it's the time that the person is really going deeper in the experience. And what I got the distinction is that when it's explicit, is the mind working, and when it's here, it's really the chance of the emotional body remembering how it was.
And what I intuited was, even though I didn't know the quality of caregiving you'd had, to totally leave an empty space, not a go, I gave a yes or keep going, rarely. Because even when someone's used to someone else being in their space, even that, the person will come back up and not go down to know their experience.
And when there is numbness, or when they're already experienced with some clients that there is this no to go there, like they want to go, but there is this resistance because it's painful, because it's...
Yeah, and I wouldn't go there till we know which driver behaviour they're using to keep this out of their awareness. Otherwise they'll be
fighting.
Yeah.
And how, I'm trying to remember from the experience how we got to that. It was from the dream.
Yeah.
From the pushing away, that I was wanting to push away.
You told the Leonard in your dream to go away.
I was wanting to be alone and push him away. So this was the self-regulation, this part where we start.
Yeah, because freedom for you, seeming freedom, was when you get rid of the other person.
Okay.
And when we do the other map, get rid of is one of the is the persecutor and the rescuer. I get rid of a part of me, I fear, if I'm a rescuer, or I get rid of you by persecuting you. So that get rid of mechanism is this.
And when, this was the key, because when I connected with that and accept this was happening, I accessed the sadness, and I was not fighting with going to the next thing. This is precious for me, because sometimes the person that I'm holding space for get to fight with it, because you try to jump directly here. I as space holder try to navigate directly to here.
And if some people will say, now what are you feeling in your body? But for me to do that prematurely, they've stayed out of their body for a really good reason. There's a lot of contraction physiologically and neurologically, or hyperarousal. Not only, yes, I'm going to bring that in with here. So physiological survival reactions are those contractions, or a little baby's turning away as a way of expressing something physiologically. Or I'm often listening for people's throat, the muscles in their throat tightening. Because these are their physiological survival reactions that helped us to answer the question, how does a person like me get along in a world like this with people like you? So the other psychological word is retroflexion. We turn in the normal reaction, like to scream or to go away, or say for a little baby that's having, say, pumpkin for the first time. You know, and if they get told off for that no, that's a no. They're just saying, no thanks. Then that kid learns, don't say no. And it's not here, it's physiologically and neurologically. Do you have anything to say about that?
What I'm getting is that when you start to experience again, so coming back to the physical body and feeling, it's like relearning again and growing that part. It's my experience that I had today with the process, and afterwards I had this call with my mother, is that like that the part that was frozen, that was pushing away, it was somehow growing, or coming back to where I am now as adult, and it's growing because it's not stuck there anymore.
And look at the different result. You had the most beautiful conversation with your mum. Like, how? When you hadn't wanted to talk to her. So what we did do though was make this experience explicit so you could see it. The pushing away, because you only did it a bit and stopped, but it gave me that, I noted it. And then we went more with the suffocation. I asked you, what's the other end of the continuum from neglect? And you said drowning, that's the word you used. Drowning, suffocation, I can't breathe. So how do you do those two things together? Go away, and I'm suffocating. So that we put that impasse, it's called an impasse, made it overt. And it was very powerful for you. Like you said, you wish it was recorded.
Yes.
So the way I'm watching the body is to look if they swallow, and I don't pick it up straight away or all the time, but eventually I'll say, did you just swallow something? No. Drop it. I just noticed you swallow. Did you swallow a thought or a feeling? Because for the families where don't say anything, don't speak up, it's locked physiologically in the physical body, actually, and neurologically. Yeah.
And it's so unconscious, just happens.
Yeah.
The body speaks much before.
Totally.
Like, much faster.
The body remembers. The body doesn't lie. Somebody might lie like this. And again, I don't. It's the art of space holding, not. Oh, here's some formula. Did you just bite on your lip and leave it? Did I? Because people have. This is coming out of being the physical body, like the diamond we did, and it's interrupting the driver behaviour. For me, I don't want to interrupt this structure too quickly. It really matters to me in a garden day on a building communication bridges to honour why this was a really good idea. So, why was that a good idea to swallow what you were thinking? And then it opens a beautiful doorway. Or to not share what you're feeling. Oh, well, if I shared what I was feeling, my mum would have had a reaction to me. So I learned to not have reactions. You're joining the conversation, Bruno.
And then I would have an explicit conclusion. It's not okay to feel.
Yes.
Would be the explicit conclusion. And then this is like I have to control.
Be strong driver. So the be strong driver goes with don't feel, don't have needs, cut them off. And I told the story yesterday about my day one birth, my survival mechanism from basically day one. Cut them off. Don't know you have them.
And a question that is coming is how, when you're working with people, how do you dance between the healing process and in possibility management? There is this word building matrix, and I've been experiencing really powerful for me. That is the together of the healing and the experimentation of something new in reality.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? About this?
Definitely, Bill. Well, because we're using the intellectual body now for a different purpose, not to reinforce. I'm just going to go down. Not to reinforce the conclusions that keep it in the swamp. I'm pointing over there because we had this.
Because you were there in that place.
So the diamond, what do we call it? Survival system engineering. So we're not using the intellectual body to keep reinforcing the old conclusions, which keeps the old neurology the same, the nervous system. We're using it to start to think about, why was that a good idea? So, and experiments for sure, to build the matrix.
Would you say more your thoughts about the building matrix process that goes along with the healing process?
Well, because the part of me that's a phase 1 game world builder, I call it the garden. I don't use the word building matrix, but live in the garden. So to totally honour your survival mechanism, honour its creativity. Yeah, I don't use the word building matrix in those spaces.
Mm-hmm. Would you say more about the garden? How would it look like, the garden?
Well, the garden is when, okay, I can see I'm in the driver behaviour, and celebrate. We have yellow cards in the building communication bridges, and people wave to celebrate their discoveries, or other people when they're doing something different or they're celebrating an awareness, wave the card. So it's not interrupting if someone's talking. However, they're being celebrated for discovering.
They are building a new pathway in the nervous system, in the way of relating.
Totally, yeah. What are you thinking, Huiling?
I feel a lot of joy about that part of building the new pathways in the nervous system.
Yeah.
It's like I feel turned on by this experience of what was not possible before. For example, what I had with my mother today, of being able to hear her singing to me, and let this in, and I feel touched now, because this is what I'm turned on by working with it, is to in myself and in the person that I'm with, to see the flourishing, like the flower just coming out. Like, I couldn't say no 1 month ago. I couldn't hear my mom sing. I couldn't things that it seems simple to the outside, but in the building this, like in going down in that structure, it's huge celebrations, because it's like it's growing up. For me, growing up, it's about that, and this is why I'm turned on by that work somehow, and this is what I want to deepening in it, because it's realization. It's when I can witnessing another person going through it.
Yeah, precious. And I'm glad I had all the years, decades of time in transactional analysis before I came was introduced to possibility management. And I actually put it all in the graveyard.
Graveyard?
Graveyard, where you bury dead people.
You mean all the things that you did
I was like,
before?
Put it in the graveyard.
Okay.
And at the ETB, or lab, with Clinton and Chloe in 2019, I refound my joy of and linked it. And I remember Clinton saying to me, "This isn't a TA workshop." Oh, that door. No, it wasn't. However, eventually I could say to him, "Do you know what a joy this is for me to take from the graveyard? Decades of training in transaction analysis, because they're not separate." And what I learned following Dr. Richard Erskine around the world for years and years was about contact.
Was he your teacher?
He's one of my mentors then. Yeah. I went 5 times to New York, brought him to New Zealand 5 times. He's a master of contact. And this is the integration of my lifetime's work, really. Knowing it myself first, and to live it, to know it, to then begin to heal it and to create something different. So one thing you might see when you come to the BCB with some people, when they're ready and they don't know they're tightening the muscles in their throat, but you can hear it, like it goes tight. I don't think I could do it on purpose.
The voice get like tight and like this.
So one thing I've used a few times is, hey, just squeeze my wrist. With the strength you're tightening your muscles in your throat. Now I nearly end up with a blue hand, and they go, and like this.
Wow. So it's strong.
So strong. Go, keep feeling. And then when they can externalize what they're doing on the inside, then they get in touch with their feeling. Just going to close that door. So then I'll invite them to look at the colour of your knuckles. Oh yeah. So
And they do, just to check, they do it themselves or they do
Oh, you do it now.
I do it here.
So imagine you're tightening your throat. Go tighter. So, oh no, way tighter. Some people's throat when they tighten. So tighten it just for the example.
Okay.
Yeah, that. Even
Wow.
Yeah, go even more.
That's right to do it here and here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That exactly. So that externalizes
What's
they're
happening
doing.
inside.
Going hunting for their discovery. This isn't about me knowing what's going on in them. Because what good is that? I don't want to define their experience or judge it or analyze it. I want to hold a space where they do the discovery. So then let's look at your knuckle. If that was an emotion, which emotion might it be? And they can usually, by then, tell me, oh, well, there was no point me being angry at home because then Mum got angry with me, or I'd be punished, or... So the body's wisdom, it's like, it's all there. For me to hold empty spaces. What do you reckon? Is that enough now?
Yeah. There is one comment it's coming is that with that discoveries I'm doing with you, I'm inspired to experiment, to hold space for, I call Rage Club until now. That this is space of learning to conscious feel from the experience first. Because I've been trying first to bring the map. And what I'm noticing is that this block that create a reaction in the people to feel actually. Like when I try to make the old map and the new map and to explain that it's okay to feel, is trying to go directly here.
Yeah.
And when I heard you say that people in your workshop don't have any map and they just feel in the first minutes, like the first space, I was with the question when you shared that, how do you get people to feel, like to connect with their heart?
But I don't try and get them to do anything. They simply know this is a space, they can have that, they know it, not from here. They know the space, and I've set the space up. So, my archetypal lineage is there, the bright principles are there. People know they can. I was going to say something. I was sharing with you about on the building communication bridges a few times ago, the women only went to 5% anger. Like that's barely enough anger to stay upright and say no. And it took over an hour. Because what they could feel was their fear of saying no. Like they could have it as an experience. And then for me, the inventory of, so let's have a look at your family's relationship to anger. Who was allowed to be angry? Well, my dad. Well, actually, and my mum. Or some people will say, oh, well, just dad when he was drunk. And what was mum doing then? Oh, she didn't stand up. Well, there gives me a clue. This person's never seen a warrioress. So, I mean, this is what I love about the art of this work. Just do the step that's integratable. I don't know if it's an English word. That they can integrate that much. And I feel so sad that people just learned not to say no as a physiological survival reaction. underneath there, the experience of terrifying fear, anger that they were scared about, as an experience. But all this, if we tipped it up the other way, all this is underneath the surface.
Underneath the behavior that we can see.
Yeah. Now, for people who haven't had serious traumas, uncles, this kind of delicate work's not needed. They can go to an ETB and then a lab, but there's plenty that I think this art of space holding.
Could you say more about that? So you see that there is preparations that takes to go to ETB. It's not anyone to just jumping in a training like that.
That's what I know I do well. I am a pre-ETB space. And yeah, pre-ETB. They don't stay overnight. It's only two days. Feels like a lot for them. And so it's massaging them in preparation. So the February ETB, everybody except you that's registered have come through a BCB. So they're primed. Like, yeah, and I don't think it would be so shocking, and their defense mechanisms won't need to be so up. Because we've done that preliminary work.
It's like slowly entering. It's not like.
No, now that you see that.
Yeah, that is that movement that come when you describe it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if how for me it was shocking, and it was I think I was ready for it. And there are some people that build more resistance, so it's like reinforced the survival strategy because they were not prepared, I think, and they got even more inside of the shield. I had two people that were close to me that did the training, and they got even more retracted, and
you said they reinforced their shield. Yes.
Because it was like this movement I did, like this.
And look, Clinton and Chloe do a fabulous job, and we need diverse ways of space holding. So I know the spaces I hold space for, and I'm totally okay about it. And I know I don't want to be an ETB trainer, and I've known that a long time. I could have been. I've held trainings for years in transactional analysis for 3 days. My training psychotherapist was 3-day training. And I've kept checking. Really? Is there a reason you don't want to? And it's because, no, I know the kind of spaces that are mine to hold space for.
Yeah, this led the question for me of discovery, which kind of spaces do I want to hold? And I think this is a life question of discovery and exploration and experimentation of what is the taste, what is the kind of space that I'm turned on to hold space for.
And that's innately inside you, a Gabriela space. Otherwise, what happens is we do a parent-ego state of possibility management. Copy. So I'm glad I talked to you about I want to be a midwife or a doula of what kind of space holder or game world do you want to build? Not what I want you to do. And I think I told you the story about somebody said, hey, can I watch some of the EHPs you hold? Because I want to do more of them. And I said, my fear tells me then you might just copy what I do. And I much more want to know what's your way of space holding. So they're going to record their sessions and we'll review them together. Yeah. Because the world needs many different ways of holding space and different game worlds.
Yeah, this is biology. Biology. One of my passions is to study biology, and one of the premises of ecology, of a system thriving, is diversity.
Totally.
So now that we are killing the species, like I say, the humanity, the diversity of the system, it's being more and more monoculture. It's one culture. It's mother culture. It is one plantation, one thing. And when it's one thing, the system is poor and it starts to die.
Yes.
And this is ecology. So what I'm hearing is that everywhere is the diversity of species, or the singularity of us human beings as this way of expressing. So what I'm hearing is that you are a doula of ecology, of diversity.
Yeah, don't copy me. One trainee I had about 150 things that I'd said, and she wanted to use them and copy them, but it's not going to work because she's not me. Anyway, it gave her some possibilities for her then to find her own. Because a child does imitate to begin with. Imitation, this. That's one of the ways a young child learns, is by imitation.
What is the point in the childhood that there is the shift from the imitation, the learning of speaking, the learning of even the school that's like copying, to, if it would not be school, what will be the point of the childhood? That is the growing this singularity or the identity.
I can talk about it from my grandchildren. I think at that 3-year-old, well, no, they start saying no. And if their no is respected, then I think they start developing who they are, not the survival mechanism. Because they know they can say no. And then this is one model of development. At 3 years of age, when the kid's becoming independent and want to move away from the caregiver, when that's not navigated well, their autonomy and celebrate their difference, the theory says that's the borderline personality disorder, that split. But that's a whole other thing. So to me, it's about contact. Am I letting this child be who they are without growing a monster, like not overindulgence? Because that's just the other opposite side.
Or you said, or I'm creating a monster, or you said or
a monster because levels of entitlement are so high, it's not been about both you and my needs. And or we're making a fertile soil to see what kind of plant is this, who is this child. Not what I call, or actually not me, I took it from his name will come, nonviolent communication, can't see his name yet, milk theory of education, that we pour in and we want them to pour out, so to totally copy what's not working. Marshall Rosenberg. So that's not, as a mum I didn't have these skills because I had my own healing to do. As a grandma I do. And they know, I speak to them, no, that doesn't work for me. You're very welcome to go and have a wine, and please do it outside, not in a space where I can hear you. That's after I've listened to them first. But when it's drama triangle,
in Portuguese you say and it's maybe, I don't know if it's for this video, but one more thing I would love to talk with you, it's your perception and thoughts about initiation and the connection with, because there is the natural development of our physical body, 5 bodies, and the survival. like how the natural growing process get interrupted in several parts of the childhood, and I don't have a specific question yet, but it's something in this direction of what do you see about initiation into adulthood? What, like how do you see that? And I don't know if you want to talk about that in this video and
Well,
another space.
Yeah, I think it's separate.
Mm-hmm.
That's for another space.
Okay.
And I love these spaces with you, and I want to keep going.
Yes.
The other thing I do want to say is I've drawn different maps where I draw a relational body as well. So the intellectual, the emotions, physiological, intellectual, and with archetypal, but that's a different thing, and the relational body. And I think this is what this is speaking to. What pattern of relating do you have inside you?
The relational body would be the way I relate with the world.
With other people, with yourself. That's why I call it building communication bridges inside. So to these parts that were cut off and out.
Mm-hmm.
And the relational body then links to Gaia, to the planet. What's my relationship with the planet I'm standing on, with Papatonuku in Maori?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that again, I can feel that's a whole. It makes me want to go and find all these maps that I've drawn over the decades.
I think we what's coming to me to do a series of videos, and like even when I'm not here physically but online,
Yeah.
and we can research, and also you can document all the research you already have been done.
Yeah.
Because this what you're bringing out, it's so valuable to add on in my background, and I assume for another people also.
Thank you. Because people say write about it, and I kept saying no, interview me. Because when we're talking, one, it's relational and making contact,
Mm-hmm.
and it's why I love holding space for the lifeline callers, because it pours out, and I feel the glad and the joy and reconnecting. It's like weaving a tapestry.
It's nourishing for me also. It's both way nourishing.
And now to know I can send someone to your YouTube or mine, go and look on PIES, the PIES video,
Mm-hmm.
or when we do the shame one.
Mm-hmm.
The person I just held space for before, totally about shame. So she had the experience, and if to go then and feed her intellectual body about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm delighted to hold these spaces together.
Deal.
Deal. All
Okay.
right, enough for that one. Yes.
Closed.
And I think the